Hey, truth be told, during the combine in Indianapolis, Chris and I texted back and forth about one person and one topic, Justin Herbert, and how impressive he was in the entire drills.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, two quarterbacks. Of course, we're texting about quarterbacks. That's what we do. But yes, I think the thing that jumped out to both of us with Justin Herbert, and you tell me if I'm talking for you here, but first off, the ease in which he can throw power footballs down the field, right?
Yep.
And then to be that size and be a really good athlete and explosive to go along with it, you know, I think those are the things that open our eyes to go, hey, we're not sure how good of a player he is, but he's got a lot of potential to be something special, and I think that's what I like about him a whole lot. Now, first thing is quarterback grip, right? We talk about that. You know, I like to talk about it.
Right. What do you see there?
Well, he's a 2 and under 5 guy, and I had this conversation with him at the combine. So the ring finger there is on the 2, right? The 2 space there, and then this pinky goes under 5. I can't throw it like that.
What's it tell you?
Well, it doesn't tell me really anything crazy. It does not. I mean, he's got long fingers, so the ball probably feels like he can keep the ball in his fingers, which allows him to really spin it.
Yep.
There's been a lot of quarterbacks through time that grip it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, Aaron Rodgers would be the one that jumps out to me right off the bat. Sam Darnold grips it like that. There's a Ryan Tannehill. There's about 5 or 6 guys in football who do it. But he does have long fingers, and I like the mechanics of him, and that's what we're going to break down a little bit. I mean, we know he's got talent, but we know it takes more than talent to make it all work in the NFL at times too.
Right, and throughout the next few weeks, we're going to peel off all the layers of Justin Herbert, Tua as well, and Joe Burrow. So starting at the beginning, his grip is fine.
Yeah, his grip is fine.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. It's very common grip in the NFL right now.
All right, move on to the throws, and his throws were terrific at the combine. I thought he got better as the throws got longer.
I agree. He did. You know, sometimes that makes you relax. You know, the short ones at times can be so timing and, ooh, you know, I've never worked with this guy before. I better get myself ready to throw. You're ready too early. You're ready too late, whatever it may be. But mechanically, I don't have a whole lot to complain about. You know, I think the first thing I look at here, first off, just he does a great job of keeping 2 hands on the ball. I'm a big fan of that. I am. You know, hey, once you get to Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes level, and you want to start letting it go a little where, that's fine. But your early years in the NFL, 2 hands on the ball. As you know, the people around you are bigger and faster. So you want to be able to move in the pocket doing this all the time just to limit too many fumbles, people swiping at your ball. All that's going to increase in the NFL. The second thing that I like about him, okay, he does a pretty good job of keeping his front shoulder in there. You know, you and I talk about that a lot. And when I say front shoulder, right, I don't want to see a guy getting ready to throw the ball and him be wide open showing me his chest. All right? So that's the one thing I would talk about. Now, with a guy like I'm only clear that on the bottom so we don't have the little spot, but the one thing I'll say is a slight negative to me with his shoulder at times is it can get frozen. Now, and I say that because
what's that do if it gets frozen?
Well, it just makes it sometimes a little bit of a disjointed motion, right? Brady, Rodgers, they get here and it just kind of goes this way, right? If you're just stuck right here, all right, then you're just kind of starting from there, which can lead to some erratic movements. And then, of course, you have to be talented to match it up and put your arm in the perfect slot every time you throw the football.
Right.
Now, he can get away with it. Why? Because he's got really long fingers, long arms, and he's talented. And as we see, he makes a number of throws in this where I would go, ooh, I wish he would turn his shoulder a little bit more, but he still makes a great throw. But this is just being nitpicky. That's what we're here to do.
Right.
So I like a lot of the things that I saw mechanically out of Justin Herbert.
So ideally with his shoulder, just see if I'm following you the right way, keeps it in the same spot. If he got a little more torque to it, is that what you're looking for?
Yes, it would be more.
A little more turn to start?
You would not, you know, and we'll get to it in a minute, like he throws a slant route early on where he kind of throws on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Well, he just gets there and he just tries to almost muscle it that way, okay?
Right.
And that's where you would see Brady or Rodgers or even Mahomes, they would kind of get to this position, right? Right here. So then you can just uncork and not have to worry about, you know, your arm being exactly perfect every time. And we'll dive into some of that stuff.
Okay.
All right, so up next we got, hey, now we're seeing the takeaway. I like it. Again, the shoulder's in a pretty good spot. I'm not complaining about that. He does a good job with his right arm, keeping it in the positive angle all the time. You know I'm into that too. This angle has to stay the same. You're not going to see quarterbacks that do the Tim Tebow and get it down here and then have success and match it up all perfect. That'd be like a golfer, like being like, oh, it doesn't matter about the takeaway. I'm going to hit it perfect every time. No, you're not. You got to be able to be consistent consistent with the mechanics because there's going to be days where you're off. And that's when you rely on your mechanics to get the job done for you. All right, so I like all that there too. Good job keeping the front shoulder in. Follow through, good.
You like the follow through there instead of here, right?
I do, I think. And he sometimes can get to that issue of, like we're going to talk about in a second on that slant route, where it can get over the top too much. He can lean forward, and then it ends up there. Hey, if your arm is going from here to here, the ball's not going to travel as great as you want towards the target. And yes, you can have a tendency every now and then to kind of jerk the ball down. You know, this one's good. It's in between. You know, he's got a very flexible arm, so he's going to be able to get away with a lot. But I have no issue with this. It's just something I'm going to watch out for. But yeah, this is pretty perfect right there in that spot. You know, like we always talk about, I want more around rather than up and down. It's just too hard to be consistent.
I feel like a lot of kids are taught to be over the top and go down.
Right.
And really, I mean, I was way past my playing days. Your dad was the first one who told me about being here and finishing here. How much better the ball would be.
The ball, the quality of the ball, you'll spin it better, you'll be more accurate with it, everything about it. I mean, listen, young kids out there, anybody out there, if somebody's teaching you to hold the ball up high like this, I'm just telling you they're wrong. They're wrong, and you need to reevaluate, okay? You know, watch Tom Brady warm up. He does this to emphasize coming across. Aaron Rodgers, the first 30 throws, he does this to emphasize coming across. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. You'll see him like up here during warm-ups all the time. So they don't get into that mode of I'm throwing from up here, losing the flexibility of my arm, and then not being able to really use your body, because how can you use your body if it's up here? Like, what are you going to do that? That doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I am into the follow-through. I got no problem with his.
Okay. I think his release looks like Carson Palmer's used to.
Oh, I could see what you mean by that. Yeah. I think there's a lot of similarities there. And this goes back to, you know, one thing I always check this out right here. You know, arm flexibility through the roof. I mean, come on. His arm is parallel to the ground right here. Yeah. You know, and I would say almost, the one thing that I would say, you know, this is a gift, no doubt, because he's going to be able to throw off his back foot like Patrick Mahomes and throw a ball 50 and 60 yards in a game, which you're going to go, wow, that's awesome. But at the same time, it can be a little bit of a curse too. You know, again, you want to limit the amount of motion you have, especially in the NFL when balls might have to come out quick and crisp and accurate. You know, to where I would tell him, if I had one issue with his throwing motion, I'd like to see him tighten it up a little bit.
And this is interesting to me, because when I watch him, whether it was the last 4 seasons in the Pac-12 or over the weekend of the Combine, I view him as someone with a real compact, quick, not a lot of wasted motion.
It's not wasted motion.
Slow down right here, though. Like, looking at this, when it gets too far back, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like you can lose it high.
You can definitely lose it high. You can lose it anywhere when you get it like this. Again, I'll go back to a golf analogy. It's like being at the drive. You know, I'm going to hit a driver, right? And I want to hit a 350 down. If you're going to reach too far back and really try to do it, hey, you might hit some 350, but then you might hit some 290 that are over on like the 4th green over there. Right. And that's where I talk about the backswing for a quarterback that can be an issue. Yeah, you're right. He's smooth. Again, we're being nitpicky here. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot to love. But I would just say, going forward, especially in the quick game in the NFL, you don't need to gear up and get your arm all the way back here to throw a ball 7 or 8 yards to get it out of your hand. Right. You know, that's where I want to see Rodgers or Mahomes, where they kind of just keep it right in here. And if you slow it down, there's a lot more arm wiggle than it looks like. But in slow time, and you know, right here as I'm doing it, you want to almost have the thought of just kind of keeping it by your ear. Your body is going to create the catapult in your arm, and that's just, again, minor things. I like the flexibility of the arm. I'm just saying, let's not reach back too much to throw it 105 every time. Right.
And as for what I said a few moments ago about, I thought his throwing got better, his workout got more impressive as the throws got longer.
Definitely.
Let's take a peek at some of those longer throws.
Let's
what we're talking about with the easy, quiet motion that he has.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a lot to like here. All right, hold on a second.
And I believe, here he is.
Yeah, got you. Okay.
And what he's going to be throwing is a very deep post corner.
Oh, this is our post corner.
A little deeper than he's going to throw on Sundays.
Yep, that's all right. But this is a great drill thrilled. This is one of my favorite throws of the combine.
Why?
Because I think you and I both know this is not an easy route to throw.
Right.
And especially with guys that you've never thrown to before.
Right.
So they're going to come out in all types of different angles, and you just kind of read them on the fly, and then you have to make a big-time power throw down the field to get it done. But yes, this is going to be the post corner. It's going to be into here, then back out here in that range somewhere like that. And yeah, you have to gauge your drop and everything about it to make it work. And I thought this is where he really stood out to me. He threw three missiles in a row on this one where I went, ooh, that's a different throw than everybody else there.
And it was not only the ball flight in the air and where it ended up, and we'll see that, but when you watched his upper body and lower body, the ease at which he threw it was the same as if he was throwing a curl route to this guy.
Well, I'm big on that. Again, it's where I even heard Rich Eisen on it. It's like a flick of the wrist.
Yeah, he wasn't straining at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And that to me says a lot. I mean, we see, the great quarterbacks, Elway, Marino, Rodgers, Favre, Tom Brady, Mahomes right now.
Right.
They can do that where we go, man, it's just like he flicked the wrist and he went 50 yards, right?
You've made the golf analogy, and I'm sure that you've been at the driving range with someone who's really good, and you stand back and watch them, and you swear that they're swinging not as hard as you.
No doubt. You're like, that makes no sense. I'm giving it all I got.
40 yards further.
Right.
And I think he is somehow, whether it's his grip, whether it's his turn, he's able to throw it 60 yards downfield with zero effort. It looks like it
looks like it's zero effort. Yes, it does. And listen, I'm big on that too, because there's going to be, hey, I don't want a guy that looks like he's having to give it the steroid jerk to get it 60 yards downfield. That would tell me, oh, then he's going to need a perfect pocket every time, and there's not going to be a lot of room for error with his throws. Right. This guy, he's got a lot of room for error and got big-time talent. And let's look at this next frame, this next picture. I was impressed with the way his drop looked. This was one of his best throws of the day here, too. As you can see, he's getting his body lined up, right, to throw that post corner over in that direction, right? So I like that, too. All right, so everything there in good spots, 2 hands on the ball once again. All right, let's go to the next picture here and just check this out. Now, this is where, to me, it gets really interesting. Again, I like where he is, right? He's trying to throw the ball, let's just say right here, and, ultimately, let's just say that's going to be 1:30 on the clock, and he's lined up to about 1 o'clock right now. So I like that. I like that. He's not pointing straight down the field to throw a ball over here, which I saw a lot of guys do in this drill where I want to go, you're not going to get a lot of power, be able to throw the ball over there if all your power is going this way and you expect to throw a great ball over there. That doesn't make sense. Right. So he's really lined up well here. Again, still 2 hands on the ball, which I really like because that's going to keep his shoulder in there as well. But the thing that's really impressive to me here, Paul, I mean, let's go to the next shot. I mean, here he is. He's still got the ball in his hand. He's still got the ball in his hand right now, okay? And you see the receiver's about 36 at the 36-yard line. Hey, this ball's going to be completed, okay, somewhere in this range right around here, the opposite 45-yard line.
And he's on the 10.
And he hasn't let go. So we're gonna have a ball that's going to go 45 yards in the air here, while this guy's only got 15 more yards or 20 more yards to run.
I think it's 55.
It might be 10. Well, you're right. It is. So, we'll see where it lands. I'm not exactly sure where it lands, but let's go to the next one. But because this is to what, Paul, you talked about, I've talked about. I love the follow through. Look, he's up here like this, right? Standing tall in the pocket, balance is good. Good thing for any quarterback. If you're balanced after your throw, that most times means you were balanced throughout the throw too. If you're a guy that's throwing the ball and then falling off, I'm pretty sure there was something wrong in your delivery, right? So here, now the ball is out, and I mean, it's a missile. I don't know what other way to say. He striped this. I mean, this was a perfect throw, and you could see now, okay, receiver's trying to get his head turned here, and let's go to the next picture, Pete, and check it out. But just drops it in, and this cone is at the opposite 40. So it's a 50-yard throw, basically, right? Yeah. That he threw with great ease and great accuracy. Yeah. And don't tell me arm strength doesn't matter.
Right? I know.
Just don't tell me that.
Last time we were here, I mean, last month when we're talking about the most important play of the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, it was a great scheme, yes, but The bottom line with that throw, he has arm strength that a lot of the other quarterbacks don't. So
exactly right.
That won't make him successful in the NFL. Won't be the only thing.
No.
But it matters a whole lot.
It does matter.
Yeah.
And it matters in like a scenario like this, and this will happen in a game too, because you're not always going to be able to, okay, I'm going to throw this ball with timing and rhythm before he comes out of his break. No, that's not realistic. It's not, and it's not realistic every throw in the NFL either.
Right.
At times you go, man, that guy's getting pushed around a lot in the secondary. I got to kind of see where he's going to break before I even attempt to make this throw. And when you have a strong arm like Herbert, it allows you the privilege to do that, to go, okay, no, he's getting bumped around, he's 20 yards, I'm not worried. I know I can throw the 45-yard missile when I need to step on the gas here and make that play. And there's something to be said about that as well.
Okay.
All right, so now
that was one of the deep post corners.
Deep post corner, perfect mechanics by my man Justin Herbert.
And I think there was one maybe shortly after that in his rip of three that you didn't like quite as much.
Well, I did, and this is
very next throw. Actually,
it's the very next throw, and the end result ends up being phenomenal once again. Okay, and again, I'd like to make the point, here he is on the 8-yard line, here his receiver at the 35, and he's going to throw a ball, again, 50 yards, and the guy's only got to run 15 more yards to get it, to get to the spot. But this one was a little different. Now, this is good and bad. Now, the bad is because his body's not lined up here.
See,
right?
I think this is, I mean, some would say nitpicking, others would say it's nuanced, but I look at this and I don't see a whole lot that's real wrong.
No, I agree. It is nitpicky.
Maybe this foot should be a little more that way.
Right. I would like to see his body, okay, lined up over here more instead of being here to throw the ball, okay? So I'll be righty for a second. He wants to throw the ball over there. You need to be somewhat over there. I am being totally nitpicky, but we're talking about a top 10 pick, and that's what we're here to do. And what else do we have to do today, okay? You know, so instead of being over here, now again, he's right down the middle. But, you know, okay, I don't love the mechanics, but I also love the result, and it showed me, oh, okay, you're in a game, and now there's some people around at your feet, right? And
which will be every throw.
Which can be just about 2 out of every 3 throws in the NFL. I mean, you go to a top 10 team, it's probably going to be every throw at first, especially. There's a reason they're drafting 10 in the draft. But, yes, it just shows me, again, a little bit like we talked about a Mahomes or a Rodgers. The body doesn't need to be in the perfect position for him to make wow throws. Right. And, yeah, you said it. I mean, the NFL, it's chaos at the quarterback position. There's a lot of times where you can't step into throws or get your body in position, and you got to be able to throw a ball 45 yards over there, and you're not going to be lined up to throw it over there. Because you know why? In the meeting the next day, okay, as long as somebody's not hitting you, your offensive coach, the coordinator, quarterback coach, head coach is going to go, wait, he's open. And you're going to go, well, I had somebody kind of around my feet and I couldn't get my body in position. They're going to go, we don't care. He's open. We're paying you $29 million. Get the freaking ball to him. Right. And, you know, I like that aspect. So, yes, it's not perfect, but it shows you that he could still be perfect without being perfect, because this was one hell of a throw. And I don't know if we have one more shot just to show where this goes. But, again, here's the ball. He's still got it in his hand. At the 9-yard line, and the guy's still going, and let's go to the next shot just to watch this one more time. You know, I mean, there's the follow through. Okay, let's keep it going. Let's go to the next one too. Again, perfect balance after the throw, but I mean, a missile.
Put it right there.
The 44-yard line, and giving the guy a chance to turn up the field, not making the receiver fall out of bounds or have no chance to do that. Right. That was the thing I liked about all 3 of his throws on these post corners. They were legitimately, the receiver could run after the catch. Right. But those are some things that, yes, I am a big fan of Justin Herbert and the things I saw there.
Let's back up to the shot just before this, if we can, Pete. I want to point out one thing. We've talked a lot about his upper body mechanics. Right. And what I've liked about in the last 4 years and really liked at the Combine, not just the arm, but the lower body.
Say it. Show me.
Never clicked his heels. Right. So, a lot of people, me included, you get back and you're going to throw a long pass. You start here and you step in. Yeah. He stays about a yard the entire time.
The whole time.
Whether he's throwing a check down,
Yeah.
a 15-yard out,
Yes.
or if he's pushing it 50 yards downfield, his lower body is the exact same. And you talked about the balance and the finish.
Right.
And he's got an unbelievable gift to maintain that balance no matter how difficult the throw is. And it starts with that wide base.
I'm glad. That's why we're a good team. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot. I really did. And that his base is certainly something that jumped out to me right away. It's always here, no matter where he's throwing the ball. And you're exactly right. Again, just to everything we're talking about, if you're getting your feet close together, and then again, it's just too many moving parts.
Your accuracy is going to go.
It's going to be compromised because you're just going to have too much lower body movement, too much upper body movement, and the ball's never going to quite like hone in on exactly where you want to go.
Yeah.
Hey, the ultimate base guy to me is Drew Brees, right?
Yeah.
Drew Brees is always here, right?
Yeah.
And he's doing this.
Brady's become really good at it.
Brady's really good as well. Exactly right. But when you have a base, then it goes back to what we just said. No matter what's around you or anything like that, if your base is there, you'll be able to concoct some way to get power on the ball with your upper body if you have people around you in the pocket.
Right.
And that's what I really like about that aspect.
And it's easy to watch his film. All you got to do is Google him. You can see it. Watch any game, his freshman year, his senior year, and you notice it on every throw, whether it was intercepted or a touchdown. He's got this balance thing with the lower body down.
He does. He definitely has it down. He's a great athlete. He has good size, and it's rare. All right, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm a little scared of like quarterbacks that are 6'6" and are above.
Right.
I mean, Ryan Mallett, Brock Osweiler, Mike Glennon. Typically, they're slow-footed.
Yep.
They can't get out of the way in the pocket. They can't extend plays and get out of the pocket that way. This is where this guy's intriguing and a different animal. He's much more of a twitchy athlete than any of those guys I just mentioned. And that's where I think, I don't love the height, maybe sometimes being too tall and long and gangly in the pocket, but I don't think he plays like that kind of guy. And that's what excites me about Justin Herbert.
Pac-12 championship game against a very good defense in Utah. Rose Bowl against a good defense in Wisconsin. He was almost more effective running the ball sometimes.
He was. Well, I think you're going to see a lot of that. You know, just my TV scouting early on of just watching Justin Herbert out of the big four quarterbacks, right? The big four right now, I'm talking about him, Tua, Burrow, and Jordan Love. My TV eye told me that he was by far in the worst offense. I mean, I got to see him play.
Personnel or scheme?
A little bit of both. I mean, I would say the scheme by far. Now, hey, listen, Burrow and Tua have two first-round receivers at their disposal. Nobody from Oregon's going in the first round right now. Nobody. And we're not really talking about a whole lot of Oregon guys anywhere near the top of the draft.
Right.
And, yes, scheme-wise, I was not in love with the scheme at all. Just from and when I saw on TV and things like that, I mean, they show replays, and I'd go, well, where do you want him to throw it? Nobody's freaking open. I don't know what else to say. So, again, that's one thing I would say to a lot of people out there who are being critical of him right now. Hey, evaluate the player. Sometimes we let the offense dictate to us what we think the player is, and I don't think that's fair. It's just not. You got to look at the scheme. What's he being asked to do? Is there actually somebody open, or are we just blaming him for throwing an incompletion or getting sacked? Well, if he got sacked and threw an incompletion and nobody's open, that's not a negative play.
Right.
And sometimes people just look at the bottom line stats and go, oh, well, he didn't throw for a lot of yards in that game, and they lost. It's all his fault.
Right.
And I just, it's got to be a deeper dive into the situation than that.
There are some stats that back him up pretty well. I mean, 14 picks total. His junior, senior year.
Right.
That's awfully good.
That's pretty damn good.
So we've thrown a lot of praise his way.
Yep.
It's not all perfect. I believe we have a couple of frames that show at least one throw that he missed, one of the shorter throws.
Yeah, let's do
in the combine. And before we watch this, after we texted in Indianapolis, and I knew we were going to spend time with him, I went back and watched him a bunch. And really, the one negative comment that kept coming back was he misses low and hard a lot.
Yes.
On throws under 15 yards,
yes.
He'll throw it hard. He'll throw it into the ground. And it happened 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
And then we saw this at the combine.
Saw it right off the bat. This is the first throw of the day, I believe, right here.
I want to see it and hear you talk about it. I've been wanting to ask you for a couple of days, why do you think he has this in his game?
Well, you talk about the base, right? I mean, first off, all right, so let's look at him right here. All right, hey, the base is not bad, but I do have one issue with the way he's standing here, okay?
Yeah.
Is, first off, just like we talked about base being here, right, and being like this, here's one where, okay, the base isn't quite perfect, and I feel like there's a lot of weight already leaning forward. So on the short throws, this is where it gets into the frozen front shoulder, okay? And now he does it with so much arm, and he gets over top of the ball, he throws those missiles at people's feet and into the ground on some of those short because he doesn't rely on his mechanics sometimes with those throws. He kind of just makes it happen with his arm and his size and his hands and just does it that way. Yeah. So here, you're exactly right. This is his worst throw of the day. He ends up throwing a ball like real low right here that ends up still being complete. It was a great catch by the wide receiver. It was. Okay, and let's go to the next frame here, all right, just to see it. But even there.
The weight's all in the front.
It's all in the front. Yep. He's like this to throw the ball. No, at that point right there with the arm there, you would want to be a guy like that more, right? Not like this. It's hard now. What are you going to do if you're leaning like that? You almost have no choice but to go, and throw the ball that way. Yeah. And that's what he did there. Now, and let's go to the next picture just to show where it ended up. Go ahead. Follow through's okay, right? I mean, he gets all that. He gets back into the right place. It's too late, though. The ball is already going to come out low. And as you see, a guy makes, again, we're being nitpicky about a guy who threw a slant right here. Like, how dare he make a guy in the NFL catch a slant right here? But
it was a problem.
It was a problem. It comes up. Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Awesome job of keeping his balance.
Awesome job.
Pete, back up 2 frames if you can. So let's get past where the actual ball went. And the last frame that we have where he's going with his release. So I believe it's the one just before this, Pete.
Yep.
And I'm kind of putting it all together, watching him here. Back up one more, Pete. Back up one more. And I want to go back to what you said. Okay, keep it right here.
Right.
A little while ago, we were talking about his shoulder. I'm like, where's he going with this? And you said it was frozen. And I was like, oh, so you want him more here to kind of create some torque.
Right.
And that can lead to some inaccuracy if you just start here. He didn't get any of that on the short
None
throw.
of it. None of it. You're right. It became an all.
Instead of starting here, he just went right to open.
Well, it all happens too fast. So now, like, the arm is beating the body, right? And that's why the ball goes down.
And what do you feel on a 3-step drop with a quick aim? You can feel kind of rushed.
You can feel rushed, no doubt about it. You almost have to tell yourself, hey, chill out. 3-step drop. Hey, he's not going to get there before I take my 3 steps. And yes, again, this is to his backside. He's a righty. I'm a lefty. I'm going to show you. But again, if we went to Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, as they were getting ready to go throw the 3-step drop, okay, it would be 1, 2, 3, and they would hit, and they would be like this more. Now, right here in this picture, he just is here, right? And now it's the arm's got to be an independent contractor. There's nothing with the body to help him out. So now he just has to go and be like the Hulk.
That's the frozen shoulder.
That's the frozen shoulder I'm talking about.
That's the result.
And that's why they pay you big bucks to tie it all together right there. Way to go.
To come in here and hang out with you.
Right.
And I think we've got a shot, a couple forward, where he kind of shook it off. He's like,
that's what I love about the dude.
And, who else looked more like Eddie Vedder, the quarterbacks in the combine?
Right.
Look at that.
Well, the big question about him, anybody you talk about, is everybody scared that he's never really been out of Eugene, Oregon. He's kind of a bubble boy that way.
You do read about this is one of the topics that comes up at this part of the evaluation.
Right.
His leadership.
Yes.
Is he vocal enough?
Right.
Is he mature enough?
Right.
Are grown men going to follow him?
I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't have to be that guy right now.
Right.
I don't think Tom Brady was yelling at the Patriots his rookie year.
Right.
You want to see a guy. Is he willing to work? Is he capable of communicating with his teammates? Do his teammates like him?
Yeah.
You can grow into being the vocal guy. Let's not forget, these guys are kids. Like, as much as we want to call them young men, now that I'm 39, when I look back at when I was doing this, I was a damn kid.
Kid, right?
Yeah. That's what I was. I was 21 years old, and I was a kid.
And let's also keep in mind what he was doing in high school. He went right from football, right to basketball, right to baseball.
Yes.
Did not do the 7-on-7 camps. Didn't start for 4 years in high school. So, physically, he's terrific, but development-wise, even though he started a lot of games at Oregon, quarterback hasn't been his life since he's been 14, like a lot of these guys.
And I like that. Again, that goes back to Patrick Mahomes. This is going to become the new fad again. Everyone's going to get out of this. I'm just telling you, if you're a young kid, play all the sports.
Play them all.
They're only going to help you as you get older in the sport you really decide, okay, I want to hone in on that. And, I like this kid's attitude. I got to meet him last week. You could tell there's not a lot that's going to shake him. He's very cool and calm and smooth. Yeah, he's a little soft-spoken. I understand that. But he's still, to me, had a presence about him.
Yep.
And to me, like little things like this, hey, like he literally what he's saying there, because he just threw that slant route into the ground.
Yeah.
He's literally telling, oh, I'm all right, don't worry, I'll be good. I mean, that's what he says. You hear him say that on TV, and to me that showed a lot too. Like he wasn't like, oh no, I'm out of my game, I'm out of sync throwing the ball. He came back the next throw and threw a laser right in the guy's chest.
Yeah. As far as the kind of leader he is, I mean, and you know this better than I do from being around your pop and playing in the league yourself for quite a while.
Right.
If your teammates don't think you're phony, if they don't think you lack toughness, you can be any kind of personality you want.
Right.
As long as you answer those two questions.
Yeah,
the right way.
that's exactly right. Not everybody's going to be Peyton Manning. Not everybody's that way. You're right. And it's everybody kind of approaches it a different way. And I think you kind of hit the key attributes you want as a quarterback.
All right. I think we spent as much time as we could on Justin.
That's all we got.
How he holds the ball
and
where he is here and all that. Just getting started on getting to know Justin Herbert. We'll do a number of other things with him throughout the next few weeks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.